Okay, this is quiz 5. You'll need your quiz papers for sure on this one because I can't draw that picture very well. In problem 1, you're supposed to find a delta such that if the distance from x to 3 is less than delta and not 0, then the distance from f of x to 2 is less than 0.5. So what that means is you've got to get close enough to 3 so that for any x within the delta that you pick of 3, so here's what I'm thinking, 3 is on the x-axis. So you've got to get close enough on both sides of 3, a distance of delta. So it's delta this way and delta that way. So that if x is anywhere in here, then f of x will be within 0.5 of 2. So if you look at the y direction, you've got 2 going here, and then 2 plus 0.5 and 2 minus 0.5. So there's your epsilon strip, which is all in there. And so you got to get in there with your f of x. And you notice that 0.4 to the left gets you to 2.6, and 0.8 to the right gets you to 3.8. Unfortunately, if you went all the way to 0.8 on the right, even though you'd be inside the strip on the right side, you'd be out of the strip on the left side. The y values are down here instead of being within the strip. So you can't go all the way to 3.8. But you can go to 2.6 on the left, and you can go an equal distance, that is 0.4 on the right. So you could go from 2.6 to 3.4, and that's a distance of 0.4 either side of 3. So you could go 3 plus 0.4, 3 minus 0.4, and that delta is your distance. How far can you move away from the center, A is 3 in this case, so that your f of x's stay within epsilon, within tolerance of the limit. So in number 1, the answer is 0.4. Okay, in number 2, we have to find a delta such that if the distance between x and 2 is less than delta, then the distance between 4x and 8 is less than epsilon. Well, if you start with the distance between 4x and 8 being less than epsilon, where epsilon is 0.1, then you want this. You want the absolute value of 4x minus 8 to be less than 0.1. So if you play with this a little bit, you can factor out of 4, and you've got to end up with that. And then because 4 is a positive number, it can come out of the absolute value. So you get 4 times the absolute value of x minus 8. Sorry, didn't factor correctly. X minus 2 here after you factor a 4. X minus 2 less than 0.1. And then you can divide both sides by a positive quantity without changing the inequality. So this is absolute x minus 2 less than 0.1 divided by 4, whatever that is. Now, if you read this in English, this says the distance from x to 2 is less than that number. But this inequality is mathematically equivalent to what we started with, and what we started with is what we want. So in other words, if I can make this inequality true, then this inequality becomes true automatically. And this inequality is the one that I can control, because I can decide how small delta is. So if I just make delta equal to 0.1 divided by 4, whatever that is, then that's good enough. And any x within that much of 2 will end up with an f of x within 0.1 of 8. So the answer in part 2, in number 2, is 0.1 divided by 4. You didn't have to calculate any further. I'm not interested in testing your arithmetic. That's it for quiz 5.